அது ஆன்ல இல்ல. மட்டும்தானே நம்ம கொடுப்போம். Good morning to one and all present here. We welcome you to this significant occasion as we gather to celebrate Constitution Day, a day that reminds us of the values that shape our nation. On behalf of the Department of Language, Culture and Society, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Katangulathur, we extend a warm welcome to everyone present here today.
A constitution is not a mere lawyer's document. It is a vehicle of life, says Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Today's program celebrates that very spirit through reflection, language, and collective participation. To begin this auspicious occasion, we invite you all to rise for the invocation.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெளிலொழுகும் சீராரும் வதனமென திகழ்பரத கண்டமிதில் தெக்கணமும் அதிசிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
Thank you for setting a serene and thoughtful tone for the day. A gracious welcome shapes every gathering. We now invite Dr. J. Michael Raj, Associate Professor, Department of LCS, to deliver the welcome address.
Respected dignitaries, dear professors and students, good morning to you all. It's with the great pride and with a deep sense of responsibility we all gather here to celebrate the Constitution Day by reciting preamble in multiple languages. We all know that our Constitution is a guiding force of our nation's democracy and the cornerstone of our rights, duties and governance. Why this celebration today? Celebrating this Constitution is about renewing our commitment to uphold the constitutional ideals in our daily life. It encourages to be informed, to be more responsible participants in this democratic society. Once, Krishna Gandhi, actually is the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, who said, the preamble describes the collective spirit of Indians. It is philosophically and politically optimistic and unique. He also stated that we, the people of India, makes us authors, owners, and receivers of the book of books. With this, today, to celebrate this event in a meaningful way, we have with us Professor Dr. P. Sri Sudha, LLD, Dean, SRM School of Law, SRMIST. And she is a highly competent academician, successful administrator, a widely respected public personality, and a visionary in legal education. Her area of expertise is AI and law education. Madam, I happened to see your work, that is, whether AI is a companion or competitor. And your critical argument, that is a bit interesting. And it is a wonderful reflection on the transformations of legal educations. Madam, we are so delighted for your presence, and your presence this adds immense value to this event. On behalf of our department and also the organizing committee, I wholeheartedly welcome you, ma'am. Now, I extend a warm and respectful welcome to our esteemed head of the department, Dr. L. Kavitha Nair. And she is a true motivator and a constant source of inspiration. And she exemplifies in leading our team with passion and purpose. To narrate about ma'am in 2 words, excellence in execution. That's about our ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. Now, I'd like to welcome all the students participants, your enthusiastic persons, and your participation in reciting the preamble that is going to make a real sense to this event. With this, I thank you all and also welcome to this event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your warm words of welcome. We now mark this occasion with a gesture of gratitude and respect. I now invite Dr. L. Kavitha Nair to felicitate our chief guest, Professor Dr. Sri Sudha, Dean, SRM School of Law.
Thank you, ma'am. Presidential address offers clarity of thought and direction to action. We invite Dr. L. Kavitha Nair, Professor and Head, Department of LCS, to deliver the presidential address.
A very good morning to all of you. How are all of you doing? Dear students, all excited? Have you done this before? Reciting? The first time. So let us first give all of us a very big hand. Let us be happy in doing this. Thank you. Now, as Professor Michael put it, that how important this day is for us as the department and for the university, and for this, the kind-hearted ma'am who has accepted to come and oversee this recitation that we are going to have. Thank you all, and this is one of the blessings that as a department we count on. So we gather here also today to honor a man and a document, inseparable from each other. Can you tell me the name of the man? Yes, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, or also called, as a man was denied water from a common pot as a child. But he grew up to draft a document that guarantees every Indian the right to equality. The very hands that were pushed away from public spaces wrote the law that says no one can ever be pushed away again. He said, Constitution is not a mere lawyer's document. It is a vehicle of life, and its spirit is always the spirit of age. If there is one lesson his life teaches every student in this room, every individual in this room, education is the most powerful act of nation building. He used knowledge as liberation, and I hope that is what your years at SRM IST would mean to you too. Now, another thing is you may wonder that Constitution Day falls on. Which day does Constitution Day falls on? November 26th. So why are we here today? Why after so many months? Because the government of India has mandated that Samvidhan Divas, Samvidhan, what is the meaning of Samvidhan? Constitution. So the day of Constitution to be celebrated throughout the year as a continuous reminder that the Constitution is not a historical event. It is an ongoing commitment that each one of us must make. Now, this morning is our department's humble contribution to that year-long celebration. Modest in scale, though. A seminar hall gathering a few number of students and few faculty, voices reciting preamble, but there is nothing small about the intent of this event. This is our way of saying we remember, we honor, and we recommit to the Constitution. Now, SRM Institute of Science and Technology has always believed that engineering excellence and human values must work together. The vision of our Honorable Chancellor, Dr. T.R. Parivendar Sir, and our department, teaching across 8 languages. Currently, it is foreign languages, but slowly it is going to be built up with more of Indian languages. We also believe in the similar value. We are perhaps the most unusual department in engineering technology, wherein we talk about language, we talk about culture and ethics with great pride. So from Dr. T.R. Parivendar Indigenous Language Research Center to LitFest to Matrabhasha Divas, we don't just teach about India's heritage, but we also engage with it, and we would like each one of you to carry it forward. Now, dear students, this is a very cliched line that you are the buildings, of tomorrow, the future India. But what kind of India you want to build? And that is the question which I don't think you can answer it in any lab. Where do you answer? Where do you find answers to such question? What kind of India? Each one of you will definitely have a plan or a kind of India that you want to see. Where do such ideas grow? Where does it grow? Where does it grow? Yes, dear students. Where does such ideas grow? Does it grow in a lab? Does it grow in a lab? No, then where? Where does it grow? How many of you have read the different articles of the Constitution? This is the document that you must keep very close to you, the Constitution. It's not something that has to be shelved somewhere and we show it, oh, this is a Constitution. No. And that is the basis for any idea that you have about what your future India should look like. So it's all in reading and discussion. Yes, as a department, we have the privilege of teaching you the course Constitution of India. And I hope it has been more than just a course to you, dear students, because the Constitution is a framework for how you treat your colleague, how you treat your classmates, how you treat everybody across, whether it's a team or whether it's a class, whether it's outside in your playground or any other workplace or any other project, and how you ensure that what you build serves not just a few but many. Baba Sahib drafted this constitution for young people exactly like you. Don't let that belief go down. Now, today's centerpiece, the recitation of the preamble in multiple languages, is our department's way of reminding everyone that the Constitution breathes in every tongue spoken across this nation. When you hear it in a language that isn't your own, please listen carefully, because that language carries the same dream that you do. Justice, liberty, equality, and what is the fourth one? Fraternity. So same words, many voices, one constitution. So today when you recite the preamble, please do not recite it just as a performance. Recite it as a promise that you make to yourself and to each other, and also to the nation, the beautiful nation that we have, which is always becoming. This is our small offering to a year-long celebration made with sincerity and therefore carrying the largest weight. We, the people, that is us. Every one of us in this hall, and actually I thought maybe people might be watching on live, but it is not. So it is just limited to the people here. That is us and every one of us in this hall. We, the people, let us wear all our listening hearts and, have our emotions where the students are reading. And please understand and find out how you are going to contribute and make it your own. So thank you very much for this gathering and the support that all of you have rendered. Once again, thank you, Dr. Sudha, for being here, and also all my faculty, dear students, scholars, and every one of you, and the coordinators who have made this possible today. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy and have a fantastic recitation.
Thank you for the inspiring address, ma'am. Language is not just a medium. It carries identity, emotion, and expression. Today, we celebrate the spirit of unity in diversity as our students present the preamble of the Constitution in multiple languages. Let's begin with one of the oldest and richest classical languages of the world. I invite Sri Ram Harigesh to present the preamble in Tamil.
All the Tamil students kindly come forward. Be quick. Quick. Come quick. You on the stage.
Check.
Excuse me.
Please, all of you, go back. First, place on the stage. Line, place on the left.
இந்திய அரசமைப்பு. இந்திய மக்களாகிய நாம் இந்திய நாட்டினை இறையாண்மையும் சமநல சமுதாயமும் சமயச் சார்பின்மையும் மக்களாட்சி முறையும் அமைந்ததொரு குடியரசாக நிறுவவும். அதன் குடிமக்கள் அனைவரும் சமுதாய, பொருளியல், அரசியல், நீதி, எண்ணம், அதன் வெளியீடு, கோட்பாடு, சமய நம்பிக்கை, வழிபாடு இவற்றில் தன்னுரிமை, சமுதாய படிநிலை, வாய்ப்பு நலம் இவற்றில் சமன்மை ஆகியவற்றை எய்தச் செய்யவும். அவர்கள் அனைவரிடையேயும் தனி மனிதனின் மாண்பு, நாட்டு மக்களின் ஒற்றுமை, ஒருமைப்பாடு இவற்றை உறுதிப்படுத்தும் உடன்பிறப்புரிமையினை வளர்க்கவும். உள்ளார்ந்த உறுதியுடையவராய் நம்முடைய அரசமைப்பு பேரவையில் 1949 நவம்பர் 26ஆம் நாளாகிய இன்று ஈங்குதனால் இந்த அரசமைப்பினை இயற்றி நமக்கு நாமே வழங்கிக் கொள்கிறோம். நன்றி.
Thank you for that powerful rendition in Tamil, truly rooted in heritage and pride. From the classical south, we now move to the language that resonates with poetic grace and expressive depth. I call upon Shantanu Kumar to present the preamble in Hindi. I also invite all the Hindi students to kindly come up to the stage.
हम भारत के लोग भारत को एक संपूर्ण प्रभुत्व संपन्न समाजवादी पंथ निरपेक्ष लोकतंत्रात्मक गणराज्य बनाने के लिए तथा उसके समस्त नागरिकों को सामाजिक, आर्थिक और राजनीतिक न्याय, विचार, अभिव्यक्ति, विश्वास, धर्म और उपासना की स्वतंत्रता, प्रतिष्ठा और अवसर की क्षमता प्राप्त करने के लिए तथा उन सब में व्यक्ति की गरिमा और राष्ट्र की एकता और अखंडता सुनिश्चित करने वाली बंधुता बढ़ाने के लिए दृढ़ संकल्प होकर अपनी इस संविधान सभा में आज तारीख 26 नवंबर 1949 ईस्वी मिति मार्गशीर्ष शुक्ला सप्तमी संवत 2006 विक्रमी को इत्तित द्वारा इस संविधान को अंगीकृत, अधिनियमित और आत्मार्पित करते हैं। धन्यवाद।
Thank you for that impactful presentation. Okay. Now let's experience the lyrical beauty of another Dravidian language. I invite Suhas to present the preamble in Telugu. I also invite all the Telugu students to kindly come up to the stage. I invite all the Telugu students to kindly come up to the stage.
భారత రాజ్యాంగం ప్రస్తావన. భారతదేశ ప్రజలమైన మేము భారతదేశాన్ని సార్వభౌమ, సామ్యవాద, లౌకిక, ప్రజాస్వామ్య గణతంత్ర వ్యవస్థగా తీర్చిదిద్దడానికి చిత్తశుద్ధిగా తీర్మానించి ప్రజలందరికీ సామాజిక, ఆర్థిక, రాజకీయ న్యాయాన్ని ఆలోచనల్లో, భావ ప్రకటనలో, విశ్వాసంలో, ఆరాధనల్లో స్వేచ్ఛను, అందరికీ హోదాను, అవకాశాలను పెంపొందించే సమానత్వాన్ని, వ్యక్తి గౌరవాన్ని, జాతి ఐక్యతను మరియు సమగ్రతను నిర్ధారించే సౌభ్రాతృత్వాన్ని కలిగించడానికి మా రాజ్యాంగ సభలో 26వ నవంబర్ 1949 నాడు ఈ రాజ్యాంగాన్ని స్వీకరించి చట్టరూపం కల్పించి మాకు మేము సమర్పించుకుంటున్నాము. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Thank you so much, students. Now we turn to a language known for its rich literary tradition and expressive depth. I invite Arnav to present the preamble in Kannada. Okay, so we move on to the next language. A language known for its poetic rhythm and depth. I call upon Tanvi to present the preamble in Malayalam. Also, I invite all the Malayalam students to kindly come up to the stage.
ഞാൻ വായിച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് വായിച്ചാൽ മതി.
ഭാരതത്തിന്റെ ഭരണഘടന ആമുഖം. ഭാരതത്തിലെ ജനങ്ങളായ നാം ഭാരതത്തെ ഒരു പരമാധികാര, സ്ഥിതിസമത്വ, മതേതര, ജനാധിപത്യ റിപ്പബ്ലിക്കായി സംവിധാനം ചെയ്യുവാനും അതിലെ പൗരന്മാർക്കെല്ലാം സാമൂഹ്യവും സാമ്പത്തികവും രാഷ്ട്രീയവുമായ നീതിയും ചിന്തയ്ക്കും ആശയപ്രകടനത്തിനും വിശ്വാസത്തിനും മതനിഷ്ഠയ്ക്കും
ആരാധനയ്ക്കുമുള്ള സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യവും പദവിയിലും അവസരത്തിലും സമത്വവും സംപ്രാപ്തമാക്കുവാനും അവർക്കെല്ലാം ഇടയിൽ വ്യക്തിയുടെ അന്തസ്സും രാഷ്ട്രത്തിൻ്റെ ഐക്യവും അഖണ്ഡതയും ഉറപ്പുവരുത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് സാഹോദര്യം പുലർത്തുവാനും സഗൗരവം തീരുമാനിച്ചിരിക്കയാൽ നമ്മുടെ ഭരണഘടനാ നിർമ്മാണ സഭയിൽ ഈ 1949 നവംബർ 26 ദിവസം ഇതിനാൽ ഈ ഭരണഘടനയെ സ്വീകരിക്കുകയും നിയമമാക്കുകയും നമുക്ക് തന്നെ പ്രദാനം ചെയ്യുകയും ചെയ്യുന്നു. നന്ദി, നമസ്കാരം.
Thank you for the graceful and expressive recitation. Next, now let us hear the preamble in the language in which it was originally framed. I invite Velmadi to present it in English.
Students for a lot for reading. Please come to the first row, boys, please take the second row. Please. Please, you come here. First, please. First row. First row. Blue shirt. Grey t-shirt.
The Constitution of India Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you for the clear and dignified rendition. Moving to the western part of India, rich in culture and history, I call upon Aryan to present the preamble in Marathi. I also invite the students of Marathi to kindly come up to the stage.
भारताचे संविधान
भारताचे संविधान
आम्ही भारताचे लोक
आम्ही भारताचे लोक
भारताचे एक
भारताचे एक
सार्वभौम
सार्वभौम
समाजवादी
समाजवादी
धर्मनिरपेक्ष
धर्मनिरपेक्ष
लोकशाही
लोकशाही
गणराज्य
गणराज्य
घडवण्याचा व
घडवण्याचा व
त्याच्या सर्व
त्याचा सर्व
नागरिकांस सामाजिक
सामाजिक
आर्थिक
आर्थिक
व राजनीतिक न्याय
व राजनैतिक न्याय
विचार
विचार
अभिव्यक्ती
अभिव्यक्ती
विश्वास
विश्वास
श्रद्धा व उपासना
श्रद्धा व उपासना
यांचे स्वातंत्र्य
यांचे स्वतंत्र
दर्जाची
व
संधीची समानता निश्चितपणे प्राप्त करून देण्याचा आणि त्या सर्वांमध्ये व्यक्तीची प्रतिष्ठा व राष्ट्रीची एकता आणि एकात्मता यांचे आश्वासन देणारी बंधुता प्रवर्धित करण्याचा संकल्पपूर्वक निर्धार करून आमच्या संविधान सभेत आज दिनांक 26 नोव्हेंबर 1949 रोजी याद्वारे हे संविधान अधिकृत आणि अधिनियमित करून स्वतःप्रत आपण करीत आहोत. धन्यवाद.
Thank you, students. Next, a language that reflects cultural richness. I invite Mantra Jani to present the preamble in Gujarati. Also, the other Gujarati students, I invite you all to the stage.
અમે ભારતના લોકો ભારતને એક સાર્વભૌમ સમાજવાદી બિન સાંપ્રદાયિક લોકતાંત્રિક પ્રજાસત્તાક તરીકે સંસ્થાપિત કરવાનો તથા તેના સર્વ નાગરિકોને સામાજિક આર્થિક અને રાજકીય ન્યાય વિચાર અભિવ્યક્ત માન્યતા ધર્મ અને ઉપાસનાની સ્વતંત્રતા દરજા અને તકની સમાનતા પ્રાપ્ત થાય તેમ કરવાનો અને તેઓ સર્વમાં વ્યક્તિનું ગૌરવ અને રાષ્ટ્રની એકતા અને અખંડતા કરે એવી બંધુત્વ વિકસાવવાનો ગંભીરતાપૂર્વક સંકલ્પ કરીને અમારી સંવિધાન સભામાં 26 નવેમ્બર 1949ના રોજ આથી આ સંવિધાન અપનાવી તેને અધિનિયમિત કરી અમને પોતાને અર્પિત કરીએ છીએ.
Thank you, Mantra Jani. Let us now listen to one of India's classical languages with deep literary roots. I call upon Dr. Sulagna Mohanty to present the preamble in Odia.
आमे भारतवासी संकल्प करूचु जे आमे भारत को एक सार्वभौम समाजवादी धर्मनिरपेक्ष गणतांत्रिक साधारणतंत्र राष्ट्र भावे गठन करिबाकू समस्त नागरिक मानंक पाई सामाजिक अर्थनैतिक और राजनैतिक न्याय विचार अभिव्यक्ति विश्वास धर्म और उपासनार स्वाधीनता प्रतिष्ठा और सुजोगरे समानता एवं सेमानंक मध्यरे जातिर एकता एवं अखंडता सहित व्यक्ति विशेषर मर्यादा को निश्चित करिबाकू भातृभाव उद्रेक कराइबा पाई आमर सांविधानिक सभारे आज 26 नवेम्बर 1949 एतद्वारा एही संविधान को प्रणयन ग्रहण एवं आत्मसमर्पित करूछु. ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you for that meaningful and heartfelt rendition. We now turn to a language admired for its precision, balance, and timeless elegance. I invite Sedhu Shanmugasundari to recite the preamble in Sanskrit. I also invite all the Sanskrit students to kindly come up to the stage.
भारतस्य संविधानं प्रस्तावना वयं भारतस्य जनाः भारतं सम्पूर्णप्रभुत्वसम्पन्नं समाजवादिनं सम्प्रदायनिरपेक्षं लोकत्रयात्मकं गणराज्यं विधातुं तस्य समस्तान् नागरिकांश सामाजिकं आर्थिकं राजनीतिकं च न्यायं विचारस्य अभिव्यक्तेः आस्थायाः धर्मस्य उपासनायाश्च स्वतन्त्रातां प्रतिष्ठायाः अवसरस्य च समतां प्रापयितुं तेषु सर्वेषु च व्यक्तिगौरवस्य राष्ट्रस्य एकतायाः अखण्डतायाः च सुनिश्चयार्थं बन्धुतां वर्धयितुं कृतदृढसङ्कल्पाः अस्याम् अस्मदीयां संविधानसभायाम् अद्य ख्रीस्तीये एकोनविंशतिशतं तमे वर्षे नवंबर मासस्य 26तमे 2006तमे विक्रम संवत्सरे मार्गशीर्षे शुक्लपक्षे सप्तम्यां तिथौ एतेन इदं संविधानम् अंगीकृतम् अधिनियमितम् आत्मार्पितं च कुर्महे। धन्यवाद।
Thank you for the timeless and powerful recitation. Next, a language known for its artistic and intellectual legacy, I call upon Professor Jayanti to present the preamble in Bengali. Jay.
ভারতের সংবিধান প্রস্তাবনা। আমরা ভারতের জনগণ আমরা ভারতের জনগণ ভারতকে একটি সার্বভৌম সমাজতান্ত্রিক ধর্মনিরপেক্ষ গণতান্ত্রিক সাধারণতন্ত্র রূপে গড়িয়া তুলিতে এবং উহার সকল নাগরিক যাহাতে সামাজিক অর্থনৈতিক এবং রাজনৈতিক ন্যায় বিচার চিন্তার অভিব্যক্তির বিশ্বাসের ধর্মের ও উপাসনার স্বাধীনতা প্রতিষ্ঠা ও সুযোগের সমতা নিশ্চিতভাবে লাভ করেন এবং তাহাদের সকলের মধ্যে ব্যক্তি মর্যাদা ও জাতীয় ঐক্য ও সংহতির আশ্বাস ভ্রাতৃভাব উৎপন্ন হয়। সেই জন্য সত্যনিষ্ঠার সহিত সংকল্প করিয়া আমাদের সংবিধান সভায় অদ্য 26শে নভেম্বর 1949 তারিখে এতদ দ্বারা এই সংবিধান গ্রহণ করিতেছি, বিধিবদ্ধ করিতেছি এবং আমাদিগকে অর্পণ করিতেছি। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you for that expressive and cultural rich presentation. Let's now feel the energy and spirit of Punjab. I invite Japlin Kaur Sandhu to present the preamble in Punjabi along with the other Punjabi students.
ਅਸੀਂ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ
ਅਸੀਂ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ
ਭਾਰਤ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਪੂਰਨ ਪ੍ਰਭੁਤਵ,
ਭਾਰਤ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਪੂਰਨ ਪ੍ਰਭੁਤਵ,
ਸੰਪੰਨ,
ਸਮਾਜਵਾਦੀ
ਤੇ ਲੋਕਤਾਂਤਰਿਕ ਗਣਰਾਜ
ਤੇ ਲੋਕਤਾਂਤਰਿਕ ਗਣਰਾਜ
ਬਣਾਉਣ ਲਈ
ਤੇ
ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਗਰਿਕਾਂ
ਨੂੰ
ਸਮਾਜਿਕ, ਆਰਥਿਕ ਤੇ ਰਾਜਨੀਤਿਕ ਨਿਆਂ,
ਅਤੇ ਰਾਜਨੀਤਿਕ ਨਿਆਂ,
ਵਿਚਾਰ,
ਅਭਿਵਿਅਕਤੀ,
ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ, ਧਰਮ ਤੇ ਉਪਾਸਨਾ ਦੀ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ, ਮਾਨ सम्मान ਤੇ ਮੌਕੇ ਦੀ ਬਰਾਬਰੀ ਦੇਣ ਲਈ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਸਭ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਦੀ ਗਰਿਮਾ ਤੇ ਰਾਸ਼ਟਰ ਦੀ ਏਕਤਾ ਅਖੰਡਤਾ ਨੂੰ ਯਕੀਨੀ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਦੀ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਨੂੰ ਵਧਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੰਵਿਧਾਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਅੱਜ 26 ਨਵੰਬਰ 1949 ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਸੰਵਿਧਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਅਪਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਲਾਗੂ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਰਪਿਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਐਵਰੀਵਨ।
Thank you for that energetic and spirited recitation. I once again call upon Professor Jayati to present the preamble in Assamese along with the Assamese students.
ভাৰতৰ সংবিধান প্ৰস্তাৱনা। আমি ভাৰতৰ লোকসমূহে ভাৰতক এখন সাৰ্বভৌম সমাজবাদী ধৰ্মনিৰপেক্ষ লোকতান্ত্ৰিক গণৰাজ্য ৰূপে গঠন কৰিবলৈ তথা ইয়াৰ সকলো নাগৰিকৰ বাবে সামাজিক, অৰ্থনৈতিক আৰু ৰাজনৈতিক ন্যায়, চিন্তা, অভিব্যক্তি, বিশ্বাস, ধৰ্ম আৰু উপাসনাৰ স্বাধীনতা প্ৰতিষ্ঠা আৰু সুযোগৰ সমতা লাভ কৰিবলৈ আৰু তেওঁলোকৰ সকলোৰে মাজত ব্যক্তিৰ মৰ্যাদা তথা জাতীয় ঐক্য আৰু সংহতি সুনিশ্চিতকাৰী ভাতৃভাৱ বৃদ্ধি কৰিবলৈ নিষ্ঠা সহকাৰে সংকল্প কৰি আমাৰ এই সংবিধান সভাত আজি 1949 চনৰ নৱেম্বৰ মাহৰ 6বিংশ দিৱসত ইয়াৰ দ্বাৰা এই সংবিধান গ্ৰহণ কৰিছোঁ, অধিনিয়মত কৰিছোঁ আৰু নিজতে অৰ্পণ কৰিছোঁ। Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am and students. To conclude, now we present a language that carries a gentle rhythm and rich cultural expression. We have Abhavya for the preamble in Maithili.
हम भारत लोक भारत के एक संपूर्ण, प्रभुत्व संपन्न, समाजवादी, पंथ निरपेक्ष, लोकतंत्रात्मक गणराज्य बनैबाक हेतु एवं ओकर समस्त नागरिक के सामाजिक, आर्थिक और राजनैतिक न्याय, विचार, अभिव्यक्ति, विश्वास, धर्म और उपासनाक स्वतंत्रता, प्रतिष्ठा और अवसरक समता प्राप्त करैबाक हेतु एवं ओकरा सब में व्यक्तिक गरिमा एवं राष्ट्रक एकता और अखंडता सुनिश्चित करवैला बंधुताक वृद्धिक लेल दृढ़ संकल्प भ अपन एही संविधान सभा में आई दिनांक 26 नवंबर 1949 ईस्वी के एतद द्वारा एही संविधान के अंगीकृत, अधिनियमित और आत्मर्पित करैत छी। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Bhavya. As we just witnessed, many languages, but one constitution, one nation, and one shared vision. That is the true essence of unity in diversity.
That was truly powerful. One message, many voices. Thank you to all the participants for that powerful and unifying recitation of the Constitution in multiple languages. It beautifully reflects the spirit of unity in diversity that defines our nation. Let us carry forward these values of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity in our everyday lives. Now, I would like to introduce the chief guest of the day, Professor Dr. P. Sri Sudha, Dean of the School of Law at SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai. Madam is a distinguished academic leader with extensive experience in legal education, research, and administration. A gold medalist from Andhra University, she holds BCom, BL, LLM, PhD, and LLD degrees and began her career as an advocate at the Visakhapatnam Bar. Before joining SRM, she served in several key academic and administrative roles in Damodaram Sanjivaya National Law University, Visakhapatnam. Her areas of expertise include international law, trade law, environmental law, intellectual property law, and tax laws. Through her leadership, scholarship, and commitment to interdisciplinary legal education, she continues to make a significant contribution to the advancement of legal studies in India. The keynote address brings depth and direction to our gathering. We are honored to invite our chief guest, Professor Dr. P. Sri Sudha, to deliver the keynote address. Ma'am, the stage is all yours.
Good morning. So first of all, let me congratulate my dear friend Dr. Kavita Nair and her team members for continuing the celebrations, a year-long celebrations to commemorate the sacrifices, the contributions made by our freedom fighters, nation builders, starting from our first Prime Minister to the current one. Dear friends, India is a union of states. It is culturally diverse, linguistically distinct. Through your preamble reading itself, each one of you have understood the vision of our constitutional makers. Before that, having coming from this legal background, you need to understand what is the difference between law as well as justice. Is these two are same or distinct? Let us draw the meaning of these two terms from the preamble itself, and after that we can go deep dive into this concept with the help of our Constitution of India. By virtue of Article 13, the definition of law is provided in the Constitution itself. It may be in the form of a custom, statute, bylaw, notification, as well as circular. Which means the custom is the foundation of law. But unfortunately, many citizens, they are under impression that wherever there is a codified law, which means if you read the newspaper, every day new law, new bill will be passed at central government level, state government level, as well as at local level. This law is nothing but a direction as well as in the form of a command to do and not to do, what to do, when to do, why to do certain things. For that, let me simplify with a simple example in such a way that each one of us will say one important thing, that is equality. So the term equality, which is enshrined in Article 14 of Indian Constitution, which talks about in India equality before law, equal protection of law. But when it comes to implementation, the same constitution itself talks about intelligible differentia at the time of interpretation of this Article 14. That is the reason why a gender-based reservation in the form of affirmative action, and moreover, in the schedules of the Constitution also, we have classified certain underprivileged as well as underdeveloped communities in the form of SCs, STs, BCs, as well as very recently, maybe after Indra Sahani judgment, we have started including OBC category when it comes to providing an opportunity maybe at educational institutions as well as employment facilities. Like that, simply reading between the lines of Article 14, it is very tough, difficult to understand the spirit of our Constitution. Dear friends, to make accessible of this important document, the Constitution of India, the framers of Indian Constitution have taken utmost care. Dr. Baba Saheb, being a chairman, he has conducted around 230 meetings. After receiving more than 1426 suggestions only, this document, the Constitution, was adopted by us on November 26th. You know, what is the importance of January 26th? Do you know the difference between November 26th and January 26th? Can anybody explain me? Both are same? So why do we celebrate Republic Day on January 26th? Yes, yes. So, like ma'am has rightly stated, there is a difference between adoption of a constitution as well as implementation of the vision of the constitution in letter and spirit, which means state has guaranteed equality to all the citizens of India. For example, let us take up if a state failed to implement the reservation policy, immediately we have a right to approach the Honorable Court by filing a writ. We can question the government in such a way that when the Constitution, by virtue of a law, is guaranteeing 33% reservation to women, why you fail to implement the constitutional promise? Like that, this Constitution is not only limited to providing fundamental rights to us. So, Part 3 of Constitution talks about the fundamental rights. Out of all fundamental rights, the trio, Article 14, 19, 21, these three are guaranteeing a dignified life as well as a social respect in the society. In the preamble also, you said justice is equivalent to social justice, political justice, as well as economic justice. But this social justice term is not there in the year 1950. By virtue of 42nd amendment only, we have included the term socialist. So what is your understanding about socialization, socialistic point of view? You might have studied in your matriculation as well as in your EVS subject. What is socialistic pattern of governance? Yeah, thank you for the response. It is not a distribution of wealth. For example, if you see the structure of our country, the society plays a very, very vital role. Society. Our soul, our behavior, our identity, our language, our way of expression is 200% dependent on the society where we are living. Like Dr. Kavita has rightly stated, our Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has hailed from a society wherein the basic human rights were denied. So that is the reason why social justice means, do I like to born in a particular society? Do we have choice to give birth to in a particular mother's home? No, we do not have choice. But if you read the ideology of profound social scientist Martha Nussbaum, she is the Nobel laureate. What did she say is, all men were born equally. We only will classify them as rich, poor, in constitutional terms, haves, have-nots, literates, illiterates. But according to Martha Nussbaum, capabilities approach is her proposition. According to her, even though some X might have born in a society wherein certain rights, certain facilities are denied, but it is the duty from the side of state as well as institutions to upbring that individual. Capabilities approach means there are 22 important facilities should be provided, like the right to food, right to speak fearlessly, right to have a clean environment, right to have access to the facilities, amenities to read, understand, express, like that. If you Google Martha Nussbaum's website, she is a profound social scientist. What did she say is, to give true spirit to this equality, all human beings are equal, but because of the facilities which are available to a particular person, like right time, right place, right people. Our Hindi teacher used to narrate a simple story in such a way that if a drop full of water, if it falls in the gutter, it will collude with that. Because of that, there is no use. But if the same raindrop falls in the oyster, it will shine like a pearl. The true spirit of Martha Nussbaum as well as our Baba Saheb Ambedkar is that because of certain societal norms, this fragmentation, the divide between one community to another community is there. That we cannot change. But because of the Indian Constitution, day after day, initially we have focused about the social equality. Equality means it is not like a mathematical calculation like 2 plus 2 equals to 4. Every society is different, diversified linguistically as well as resource wise. That's why the social equality, at least if we stop discriminating certain communities at society level itself, we can provide justice to people. After getting the social respect, the second important fundamental rights people should express, exhibit is Article 19. Article 19, again, it is divided into 6 sub-provisions. Basically, 19 talks about, like I am expressing, freedom of speech and expression. Dear friends, this is one more golden opportunity, a wonderful fundamental rights conferred by our constitutional makers to us. Before this independence, if you speak against government, so immediately a defamation case or else a disaffection case will be filed against you to stop you not to speak against a administrator or anybody. But in India, today, whatever you speak, whether it may be a social media, whether it may be in your classroom, at home, you can speak neutrally for the welfare of the society. So that is the reason why Article 19.1 is very, very important for the purpose of expression of thought in a free environment as well as fearless way. Otherwise, if you go and see, at present, 2 important wars are going on. By the name of internet shutdown at Iran as well as Israel, you're not supposed to express your views freely in the Twitter, Facebook. In fact, in Iran, Iraq as well as Afghanistan, the Taliban government, they have 100% banned to express whatever they want regarding the war, regarding the human rights violation which is going on in their country. But fortunately, in our country, let me narrate one important story with you, my dear friends. Very recently, students will study certain things from NCERT prescribed books. One professor, what did he say is, in India, government is divided into 3 organs: executive, judiciary, as well as legislature, according to theory of separation of powers. In India, we are under impression that president is powerful, prime minister is powerful, or the chief justice of Supreme Court of India is supreme. But if you understand the spirit of Indian Constitution, those 3 are accountable to Indian Constitution. That is popularly called as the rule of law, which means even though you are the constitutional authority, on the top of you, you are accountable to the Constitution. So such kind of structure was created by our constitutional makers with regard to this NCERT book row. One professor, what did he say is, out of these 3 organs, if you open the national judicial grid, around 5 crore cases are pending before Supreme Court, High Court and many courts. Openly, that professor, what did he mention is, out of 3 organs, 2 organs are functioning with great constitutional commitment except judiciary. So these 2 lines were narrated by that English professor contextually, without any malified intention or a bad faith. He has compared the performance of various organs of the state in a fair and neutral way. But one day what happened is, the published book was placed before Honorable Supreme Court, before Chief Justice's bench in such a way that, so these publishers are talking against the constitutional institution that is nothing but Supreme Court of India, immediately the Chief Justice is vested with a power to file a contempt of court against them immediately with the single stroke of signature. All the books were not prescribed for teaching, and moreover, they have constituted a committee. 3 professors were called before the court. In between, you people are very, very young. Many social media posts. Near to this place, we have Tamil Nadu National University, wherein one LLM scholar, he has posted that it is my freedom of speech and expression. I have posted my opinion in my personal Twitter account. If I might have posted these things in the public account, that will be termed as a defamation, but this is my fundamental right to express the fair and constructive criticism against Supreme Court of India. You see the power of Constitution, even though he received contempt notice, but the court have guaranteed his freedom of speech and expression. That is the power of democracy, my dear friends. That's why after 75 years of sacrifice from our constitutional makers, we got this freedom of speech and expression. For what purpose we are using, we should be mindful, especially to guarantee this right. We have a powerful act called Information Technology Act. According to that act, you can express whatever the medium it may be fearlessly. And after Article 19, one more important article you should understand, that is Article 21. Article 21 talks about right to life and liberty. So dear friends, life means whether I am alive or not. If you are a doctor, you will verify my pulse, my heartbeat. Immediately, you will say that you are alive. But if you see the vision of our constitutional makers, life means it is not a simple animal existence. Each and every citizen should excel in their professional life. So that is the reason why, if you see the interpretation of the Article 21 from MC Mehta case to a very, very recent cases, initially the courts have focused about right to give clean environment to the citizens. But today, if you see, Article 21A is subject to amendment. By virtue of that, the government role has come into picture, right to free and compulsory education. Like Kavita ma'am has rightly said, education is one of the most powerful weapon to transform us from an individual to a entity which can build the nation. So that's why, my dear friends, Article 21 guarantees each one of us to lead a dignified life. And moreover, after having a life, if somebody is stopping me or somebody is peeping into my privacy, if you look at the interpretation of Article 21, the Puttaswamy judgment and closely connected interpretation with your mobile phone as well as your Google. For example, now a lecture is going on. So according to me, in the privacy settings, I will fix that this talk will be transmitted within IST only. Do they limit the transmission once this video is uploaded in the YouTube? Through metadata at global level, it is visible. But data is a powerful oil. Every social media company, especially the giant companies like Google, Meta, 24/7 with the powerful algorithms, they do the data analytics. With the help of that only, they will go for digital advertisements. They will formulate their business strategy. In absence of Article 21 and Puttaswamy judgment, the commodification of data takes place. But after this judgment, they have to take consent from us. For example, I have posted my image in my Twitter account. But to commercialize that or else to make that picture accessible and available to others, they have to take consent from me. In absence of that consent, even though my image, my expression in the form of audio or a blog, if they commercialize it, immediately the courts will protect our liberty. Liberty means my privacy, my right, and my respect. So, rights and respect, these two things are two faces of liberty. And moreover, my dear friends, whenever we talk about liberty, the interpretation of this term also varies from US as well as in India. Whenever you talk about liberty in India, we will interpret in the form of freedom rather than liberty. At US, after attaining majority, you can carry the gun and you can enter into the relationship, you can lead an independent life. But whereas in India, because of the societal structure, still you people are dependent with your family. So liberty is different from freedom. In India, our society has guaranteed freedom of speech, freedom to live in a fearless way. For that, let me cite one important incident with regard to the expression made by the popular YouTuber Mr. Rohan Alhabadia. So while conducting that talk show, he has continued his conversation against to the norms of our society. That is the reason why his speech was construed as a defamatory speech as well as objectionable speech. What kind of speeches are permissible in India? That will be decided by the society, not from the side of courts. That is the reason why don't be under impression that freedom means liberty is not guaranteed to us. You have every right to speak whatever you want, but you respect the society and you are accountable to the Indian Constitution and you are answerable to honorable courts. In this Rohan Alhabadia case also, according to Article 19.2, the court has declared his speech is a objectionable speech and that is not at all acceptable according to Indian norms. That is the reason why, while reading each and every provision, we need to connect our ideology with the society where we are living. Like that, my dear friends, the horizon of interpretation of Article 21 is developing like anything. And after this Puttaswamy case, this Anuradha Basin case is also very, very important for our discussion. During my generation, freedom of speech and expression means I can speak fearlessly, I can express. But in Anuradha Basin case, you might have heard about abrogation of Article 370. Earlier, Jammu and Kashmir is not a part of India. After abrogation of that Article 370 only, Jammu and Kashmir has become a part of India. So during that situation, the government has banned 4G internet. Only 2G internet is available in the Kashmir Valley. One journalist, she has approached, the journalist name is Anuradha Basin. She has knocked the door of Supreme Court of India in such a way that the oxygen of my journalism is the developments after Article 370. Because of this internet ban, the 4G internet can connect me with more and more people, but the 2G is not accessible and available to many citizens. Because of that, my freedom to reporting is disturbed. Then it is a 365 pages judgment wherein Justice N.V. Ramana, his interpretation is very, very important for us. In the name of national security, the state can exercise reasonable restrictions with regard to accessibility of internet. But then the journalist has questioned the power which is exercised from the side of Jammu and Kashmir. What did they do is Section 144 section. Have you heard about Section 144 section? So elections are coming up. So can we move like groups before one day? So we cannot move like groups because if we move together, there is a likely chance of incitement of violence or some kind of law and order problem will come. That's why wherever there is a mega event, to control the communication among citizens, the government will use 144 section, which means the communication among peers will be restricted. Then in Anuradha Basin case, for a span of 1 year, so they have imposed this 144 section. So that was ruled by Honorable Supreme Court in such a way that in law we have a doctrine of proportionality. So these fundamental rights means right to reporting is enshrined under Article 19(1)(a) as a part of freedom of speech and expression. Being a journalist, your pen, your editorial, with the help of that only you can express whatever you want. The state has curtailed that by minimizing the internet connectivity. Then the court said it is disproportional. So immediately the direction which has come from Honorable Supreme Court in such a way that in times of emergency also the state should see to that there should not be any obstruction to freedom of speech and expression. Dear friends, proudly I can say that after so many sacrifices, each one of us got this freedom of speech and expression. We have to utilize it judiciously. Again, I am repeating, judiciously means like the 5 fingers are not equal. Our society is stratified. Religion basis, reason basis, language basis, race basis, ideology basis. But if we are expressing something against a particular community, obviously their morality will affect. That's why this freedom we have to exercise judiciously. Otherwise, by virtue of Article 19(2), the checks and balances, we may receive some direction from the side of courts. Like that, if you see the checks and balances which are enshrined in the Constitution, the law-making power is vested with the Parliament, but the implementation is with the executive, and protection and guaranteeing these fundamental rights are vested with judiciary. All the 3 organs are independent as well as interdependent. That is the uniqueness of our Indian Constitution. Except judiciary, remaining 2 organs are accountable to justices as well as our constitutional courts. And moreover, one more important feature of our Indian Constitution we have to discuss, because nearby we have elections. So we have a parliamentary form of government. But if you compare at United States of America, presidential form of government will be there. Here, being responsible citizens, by casting our vote, you have every right to elect your leaders. So, to govern these aspects also, the Election Commission of India, that is also an independent constitutional organ which is embedded within the Constitution itself. Like that, to protect the freedoms, to guarantee the fundamental rights to us, everywhere they have defined the role of a particular organ of the state, and they have created powerful institutions so that our citizens can enjoy the freedoms guaranteed under Part 3 of Constitution. There are many more fundamental rights are there. Because of paucity of time, I am explaining 3 important fundamental rights, and after that, Part 4 of Constitution is also equally important for each one of us, that talks about fundamental duties. So, in the Constitution itself, the duty consciousness, what kind of duty we have to discharge being a diligent citizens. Like again my good friend Kavita has rightly said, to build the nation, if there has been any conflict between individual interest and institutional interest, according to fundamental rights, every time we have to respect the spirit of institutions. We should think about the nation as well as its respect at global level. Like that, when it comes to our education also, it is the duty from the side of state to establish universities, to organize certain events so that the scientific temperament as well as the cultural maturity will develop in each one of us. But at the same time, it is the duty of citizens like us to implement the vision of our constitutional makers. Like that, my dear friends, when it comes to governance part also, initially we have 2-tier mechanism of governance, that is central government and state government. But during Rajiv Gandhi's time, he has visualized one important thing in such a way that the dream of Mahatma Gandhi is the empowerment of village, which means Antyodaya as well as Sarvodaya. The fruits of national wealth should reach the last man of our country. So the last man of our country is nothing but the villages are the backbone of our economy. Because of initial 2-tier of governance, state as well as center, the third layer, they're not participating actively in the democracy. That's why by virtue of 73rd as well as 74th Amendment to Constitution, we have created the third tier of governance system in India, that is nothing but Panchayati Raj at village level as well as at urban level also. We have created a proper municipal governance system so that the participatory form of governance we can improve. And lastly, my dear friends, whatever we do, we have to remember one important thing. Our democracy is by the people, of the people and for the people. This mantra we should remember. Unfortunately, when it comes to